indication I think it's related to it all. Tell you that for the classes this afternoon. So with that being said, Sergeant Krusty, you're up for 10 minutes. Do you want to go to lunch? Cool. Where's the sighting roster?
Give me about a minute and a half to recollect, consolidate, and reorganize. One of the questions that was addressed in the end, or towards the end, was how do we as leaders help identify issues like this? Okay? Well, it actually works out that one of the snippets in my class is this ideal model. Okay? I know it's kind of hokey and third grade-ish, but when you deal with people, you being I, he, right? In the event of that counseling, they identified the symptom instead of the actual event. Okay? You got in a fight. Yep. Busted. Okay? Why? Why did you fight? You know? From there, I'm just going to nab this so I don't do too much PT today. Don't want that. I don't have to work out again until March, so. Okay? You identify, as previously stated, right? Then you describe the problem. Okay? Pretty self-explanatory with Jeff's ordeal, right? By this fight, that was the second event in how long, Jeff?
6 months.
6 months. Okay? Now, at face value, it doesn't seem like much, right? And I'm not banging on his battle buddies, so don't take it that way if any of y'all are still here. Okay? But we get wrapped up in that moment. And we want to protect our own, so we sit on it. And that's kind of what outsiders view looking in. Okay? From there, you have to express the concern. Okay, now who do you express that with? The individual? Maybe. Maybe the people that he works with on a day-to-day basis? Is it right if I use you, Jeff? I should ask.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, and again, I'm not banging on anybody, so don't take it that way. I'm not that big of an handful. Close, but not that far. Okay, hey, drinking a lot. You're a lot of fun to hang out with when you're drinking, but great googamoochie. Enough alcohol there to tranquilize a horse for a week. Right? Ask. Okay. And then list. Okay? So when you're looking at a situation, that activating event, the actual event that happened, describe it as you see it, express your concern, ask for more info. Okay? Whether it's from battle buddies, again, be careful with the family member thing because you can undermine a great stride in forward progress just by going to the Mr. or Mrs. and saying, hey, what's going on? Okay? Sometimes it's necessary, but just know that that's soft and hallowed ground. And make your list. Okay? Then when we get to the counseling portion, instead of saying, hey, you know what, you got in a fight. Why? It's his fault. It's not mine. I didn't do nothing. I was just there minding my business. Comes the assertive communication. Confident, clear, and controlled. Why? What you got, Chief?
Because you need to keep the emotion out of it,
Okay?
if at all possible.
If at all possible. Because you may be dealing with a hot item already, right? Especially in Jeff's case. His whole world is coming down around it. You really want to touch that button? No. But we as leaders are called to, right? We don't tell you no because, or we don't tell our children no because we just like to say no. We say it with a reason, right? If you think about communication, especially dealing with children, not that Army soldiers are children, but, you know, like wish in one hand, or, you know, 6 of one and half dozen of another. You gotta be confident, you gotta be clear, you gotta be controlled. You'll get far more headway. Looking at the whole versus that one small section. And bringing it up confident, clear, and controlled. We'll have a far better outcome. So how does that fit in assertiveness? When you're assertive in talking to somebody, Sergeant Dirks, you know, I could really use a new jacket. Do you think maybe find some spare time and maybe get me one? Right? Yes, ma'am.
Typically when you are trying to be more assertive versus passive, it's direct. You're making statements, you're not asking questions. I've noticed this. This has become a problem. Instead of, oh, do you really think you have a problem? That's more passive. You're waiting for them to give you a response, and then those walls are going to go up, and it's going to be a challenge. Typically.
Yep, exactly. Now there are times where you can go up to a person, Sarnationman, can I use you? Sarnationman, this is what I see. You better knock this shit off and get it right, or it's gonna go the other way. Okay? How's my body language? Very aggressive, right? Okay? Giving him the knife blade, being very direct. His position to mine. He's sitting, I'm standing. I'm lording over him. Okay? Now if I came to him and said, Sir Nation, what's going on, man? This is what I see. This is what other people are telling me they see. Put the pieces together for me. Okay? You breach that wall before it may have started to elevate, but you knock it out right away. You're one-on-one, peer-to-peer. You're telling him you know stuff already. So it knocks off the lies, hopefully, or at least redirects them for a little while. You're confident, you're clear, you're controlled, you've gone through the ideal process.
I think one other thing too, thinking back on it as you're talking, something else I can get provided in the counseling is, hey, you know, Jeff, a couple guys, you know, kind of brought to my attention and drink a lot. Are you aware that you can actually get help and get time off work without having to take vacation? Maybe offering them resources or assistance that may feel them okay to drop in the car and say, yeah, well, you know, that'd be kind of cool. Get a couple days off of work. Yeah, and talk to someone. So, you know, that's another piece of the counseling that I didn't receive those. I had no idea this was available to me at the VA.
One thing too, I'm willing to bet that majority of the people here are full-time in this organization. A lot of employers have employee assistance programs, what is called EAP, so that might be another resource. We all often from the military one source, and sometimes I feel like that's our go-to, our little golden ticket, and people become a little more standoffish. So you could ask them also what resources they may have available through their personal employer.
Yeah, I'd just like to add too, you know, one thing that I've noticed, you know, in the like dot tempo and like the deployments, things that used to have, you know, I think as leaders we used to kind of treat people more as people, but as the deployments and dot tempo increased, we treat people more like an object, or you know, not, you know, that personal aspect kind of has gone away. But I think the Army is starting to realize that, you know, we might need to go back to that, because, you know, rather than sitting down and dictating when you're counseling somebody, you know, that's where you got to open up to that personal, you know, that more, be more personable. And as a first line leader, you have that is your job, to know your people on and off duty, what's going on, and you know, you can only, as much as they'll open up to you, you're kind of at that, you know, you're at their mercy to open up to that. And you know, as leaders, we need to break down that wall and look deeper. So, you know, I think that's one thing too, is that we don't treat people like people anymore. And everybody's guilty of it. You know, we all do that.
Being that I have a 2 hour or an hour to work and an hour drive home, I get a lot of time to think. And, you know, got 7 kids, so I can't do a whole lot of it there. So I think about the way the Army has transitioned just in the last 18 years. In my time, I shouldn't say Army, but you know, the environment has changed. You know, responsibility and accountability for actions went away for a while. And it's coming back. But I asked myself, okay, so what caused that? What is the foundational cause to, one, where the Army's at, two, you know, way society is gone, you know. And responsibility and accountability was the ticket for a long time. But it's not. You look at the mandatory briefings and stuff that we have to go through, quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter. And you look at our fundamentals of how we are supposed to operate and interact. What are the 7 base fundamentals of how we're supposed to act? The Army values. Right? The biggest one that falls by the wayside, from my limited view, when it comes to all the mandatory briefings that we have to go through, is lack of respect. Or the inability to respect. Which comes back to here. You respect the person enough to find out what the root cause is. You respect them enough to be clear, confident, and controlled. And you respect them enough to help get them back where they're supposed to be. Again, my opinion, You form your own. But questions, comments, concerns on ideal and triple C? All right, thank you.